Welcome to the Admin to Admin Academy podcast, a place for ambitious and motivated Salesforce admins to find inspiration and strategies for professional growth. Here's your host, Melissa Van Dyke. She's all about efficiencies and taking care of business, so she will teach you tips and tricks to help you manage your projects and identify the quick fix, low-hanging fruit in your organization.
Today is all about quick wins. So if you listened to episode 1, we talked about paying attention, and hopefully everyone has started talking to their managers and their users and stakeholders and started getting some ideas about different ideas around what their quick wins might look like. So we're going to talk all about what those quick wins might look like and kind of how we might start moving toward implementing some of those. So as you know, we always have a formula use case at the end of the session, and today's formula use case is a Picklist validation. This is just a reminder of the getting started model. Here we have the paying attention, which was episode 1, getting those conversations started and trying to get ideas about what the quick wins might look like. And then now we're into the quick wins area, and we're going to start to implement a quick win. And then as we get the quick wins and the momentum and people excited about the new processes, then you can start using that design and those quick wins to get other people even more excited and building up a little bit of a roadmap. And then the feedback, of course, is everywhere, and you're always getting feedback because that's what feeds the momentum and feeds the energy around what Salesforce can do and gets your ideas going and getting people excited about it and making sure to keep them really involved in the process. So what does a quick win look like exactly? A quick win could look like many things. So depending on your organization, depending on how, what part of the organization you're in, if you're in sales or marketing or, revenue management or absolutely any department, whatever it is that you're doing, I promise you there's some quick wins out there. So they might look like a form, any form at all. If it's in Word, PDF, currently people are typing in fields on a form and then emailing that form somewhere. As you know, none of that is reportable. So it's kind of this perfect area for a quick win because Salesforce, if you build a custom app, you can make your own forms, your own fields. You can cover every field that's on the form plus some more, right? Because you can use validation rules and you can use formula fields and you can auto-populate fields and you can get some really great reporting and visibility into the process instead of it just being in emails and separate documents all over the place. So that's a great one. Also, email processes that create a lot of churn. So if there's a process where a team, for example, a sales team is emailing an internal team that supports your existing clients, and the account managers ask for a specific thing to be done by this, support team. It doesn't have to be cases or customer support. Everybody kind of thinks that it has to, they're not a true support team or true agents that are customer service oriented. This could be an internal team that just actions items based on an email that comes into them from another department, and they can't track all of that and they don't have a lot of visibility into it, and they have to constantly ask questions back, and so that creates a lot of churn because the people sending the request don't know exactly what to enter into the email. So validation rules on a form help great with that because the end user appreciates it because they know exactly what they need to provide and they can send it over, and then they can be notified when it's actioned. And then the receiving end, they get insight into how many requests they are getting and how long it takes them to action. And it creates this awesome, really cool environment. So that's another really popular one. even something as small as auto field updates. Maybe you already have an existing process and it could just be a little bit better. Adding in auto field updates and formula fields. And that's a lot of why I do the formula examples at the end of these, because I think quick wins are very heavily around formulas. You might have great processes in place, but you could just be, that added extra streamlined process when you add in formulas and workflows and auto field updates that can really enhance your reporting. So those can be quick wins. Syncing up a unique ID from an external system into your Salesforce accounts. So it sounds harder than it might be. Maybe you have an association that you use for your accounts, or you have an external, a legacy system that has this unique identifier for other reporting throughout the company. If you can somehow match those up the first time to your existing clients, then load that unique ID into Salesforce, you can set it as an external unique ID, and then you can actually join your data from Salesforce into data from your legacy systems. And that's where Excel comes in really handy. You could do an export from your external system. You could do an export of data that you have in Salesforce, and then you could put those together in an Excel file, and then eventually, hopefully, work to even integrate those systems together so that you don't have to manually report on joining them, but do it as this full integration. So that could be a step one toward that end goal. Approval processes are great quick wins because everyone's always thinking, oh, I don't know where my approval is from my manager or from this other team. I'm waiting on that approval, and it's usually in an email. So again, that goes really well with email processes. So even if it's not a true approval, it could actually work as a great way to have a team action. So they hit approve, and all that means is that they've done the activity that was requested from them, and that can automatically generate an email back to the user to say, hey, this was done. So approval processes can be used as a way of tracking activities, not necessarily just approvals. So keep that in mind. Again, with the mass data loads, add a category to an account if you want to, manage. Maybe you have the higher, more valuable customers or clients that you have, or potential customers. Maybe you want to flag them as a higher, more actionable. You really want to go after these accounts, or you really want to flag a hot account that is over a certain amount of revenue in their return, and you really want to kind of categorize your accounts. Salesforce is a great place to put those flags and manage that review process, and then mass loading the flags when they change. You can really help your sales team or other departments get more visibility into their accounts. And absolutely any Excel process, if it is being managed in Excel as a database and people have to find the Excel file in order to do their job and to track what they're doing, you can absolutely put it in Salesforce. Absolutely. Do it, and everyone will love you. So these are high level. Hopefully something on here kind of clicked with you. Maybe you're starting to think, oh yeah, these are great because I can picture what this might look like in my organization. On this page, it's a little wordy, but you can download this deck from my website on the admin tab at melissavandyke.com and read through it a little bit more. But basically what this gives you is some more in-depth examples. So for example, for an approval process, you might hear somebody say when you're having your conversations with people, you might hear somebody say, I always have to wait on Jane to approve these requests before I can move forward and never know the status. I'm always looking through my email and trying to find when I last sent her an email so that I can follow up, and I have to remember to do that. If it was an approval process with a form in Salesforce, then that person would never have to wonder. They could just go straight to their list view or their report. They'd know everything that's pending, and they could just do a quick chat mention to Jane and be like, hey, Jane, can you please, take a look at this? I'm really needing this approval right now. And they just shaved off, anywhere between a few minutes to, a half hour trying to organize themselves to figure out where all their follow-up items are, right? So that's a huge return. Another example is a RFP process, a request for proposal. So if you're a company that's responding to proposals, you could absolutely, I'm sure there's a lot of use cases out there on the community about different ways to implement a proposal process and manage all of that instead of an email. So these are hopefully some great starters to get you going. And I just want to give you a quick tip for when you sit down and start actually implementing one. So pick one, get people excited about it, get that buy-in, and be sure, this is, again, go to my website. You'll see articles about bombs and jams. Bombs and jams will help you organize yourself so that you know what your steps are going to be to implement this quick win. And it is a great way to get everybody really excited because it visualizes all the pain points. So real quick, a bomb is something that is heavy user pain. The bomb is, I have the email churn. I can't find anything. The visibility, the back and forth. It's major user pain. So just highlight that with a bomb. And then your jam, I always do a jam to highlight something that I know is a real easy implementation with just out-of-the-box Salesforce. So for example, while this might be an approval flow, the jam specifically identifies that automatic email that goes out because I'm being told that Jane always has to remember to send an email to this other department to make sure that they go and do what they need to do. Well, my jam here tells me I can just turn on that auto email and Jane never has to remember to send that email again, and we can be rest assured that the departments that need to know will get that email automatically. And maybe we could even do something else with that. But the email is a great way to start, an auto email. Jams are also field updates, auto field updates, any formula field that I can do, anything that I can solution with a workflow rule, a validation rule, a email alert, field update. All of those are just jams. Just highlight those with a jam. Just find an image online and throw it on there. And so then you sit down, you throw this out to everybody in an email, you summarize all the work you've done, that you're going to do this quick win. Everyone's going to love it. And here's the current state. And you're going to clean up all of this and make it a real easy, manageable process in Salesforce. And of course, be sure to communicate how the return is going to be for everybody. What are those wins really? The wins are your reports, your visibility. Management gets to track time to action. Managers can see how many requests come in. We can't report on any of this stuff when it's coming in on an email or an Excel or in a Google Doc. So visibility reporting is really that end goal that you want everybody to understand. This is what they're going to get. This is why it's valuable. And of course, visibility into action items. When you're working a queue, it's easy to sit down and say, okay, I'm going to spend an hour doing this instead of getting emails in your inbox and trying to remember to go back to them. So when you're the person actually actioning the request, it's really nice to be able to sit down and know that all your things that you need to do is in one approval flow or in one report, and I can just sit down and hammer all of those out, and you just probably saved me, half a day instead of having to figure out where everything's at. So it's really time savings and efficiencies that you're selling to your stakeholders and to your users. Be sure to check out our Solo Showcase Showdown. It's a brand new YouTube channel taped podcast. You can also watch it live. So go and join on the Success Community. If you're not already a member, join the Solo Admins group. if you're a solo admin and you're interested in that's a great community in general. But we post everything. We just had our first episode go live on August 5th. So if you go to YouTube and search for the Solo Showcase Showdown on the YouTube search, then you will find us and you'll find our very first episode. And it is completely dedicated to highlighting and showing you in a demo the implementations that have been done by solo admins. So the first one today was a quick win. It could be categorized as a quick win. It's a pretty big overhaul though. But this user took a form that was being filled out and made a custom object with all the fields and validations, and she goes through and walks through exactly what that looks like and how great her reports are and her dashboards. So definitely check that out if you are interested in moving forward with your own quick win. It should hopefully help you visualize what we're talking about. Don't forget to communicate your plan for the quick win. Get that buy-in. Let people test in your sandbox if you want to get them comfortable with it before you go live. And documentation is everything. So schedule regular office hour sessions where people can join you on the phone or in person or on a webinar so that they can ask their questions freely and they feel comfortable asking their questions. Supporting the users in the transition is an absolute must for user adoption. And then, of course, make sure your managers get the reports they need to start analyzing the data now so it's available in reports quick and easy so they can see that instant return on the investments. I wanted to take a moment about quick wins here. I'm trying to get the hashtag SFDC quick wins being used, and we have a little bit of momentum going here. So I want to highlight, I do have a blog post that came out recently. The link is here. If you go to my website, it should be one of the more recent ones on the left-hand side. You can click the 7 quick win examples, and it's a very specific example of what we're talking about here about quick wins. So you might want to check that out. And then also you'll see some great examples on that blog from users that tweeted me on Twitter about their examples. And there's a couple here. We even have Mike Gerholt that put up a quick win. So hopefully if you guys implement one of these quick wins as you listen, go ahead on Twitter and use the hashtag SFDC quick wins and share your example to inspire and motivate other admins so that they can also get some support and get their quick wins implemented as well. So I don't know if you know, but my background comes from being an administrative assistant and executive assistant. So quick wins are very close and dear to my heart because, and I'm sure there's a lot of people, we all know how it is where we have we're in a job where we have something else other than Salesforce, more of the full-time job. So maybe, 80%, 90% of your job is doing something else. And then you've also been asked to administer Salesforce. And so quick wins are really great, especially for those people who are just trying to get some momentum being built around your organization so that you can hopefully drive that into becoming a full-time position if that's something you're interested in, or at least cleaning up. Quick wins are great because they clean up a lot of manual processes. Welcome to the validation section of our podcast today. And before we get started with our example and our demo, I wanted to direct you over here to melissavandyke.com and show you where you can find the deck for today. You can download everything that we've gone over today in a PDF document. You can also download the BMO use case. So here on the Admin to Admin podcast tab, if you scroll down, you can download the deck right under the episode that you're looking for. And you can also download the BMO use case. And what that does is it's a document that walks you step by step exactly what you need in order to create your free developer org to look like mine. And the benefit of that is when you go in to practice the formulas that we go over, you will have the same object setup and relationships that I do, so that it's easier for you to recreate exactly what I'm walking you through, and then it'll be easier to find those successes, so you don't have to stress out about trying to make your org like mine. This document walks you through exactly what to do. Okay, so now we'll head over to our demo here in our BMO org. So to give you an example of what we're doing, I'm just going to show you the end result and then kind of work backwards. So what we're trying to do is implement a validation rule that will allow us to help end users enter the correct type on the opportunity in relationship to what the related account type is. So if the account is a prospect, for example, we would not want the user to select an existing customer type in this type field. So as you can see, we have a few existing customer options, and then we have one new customer and option. And basically, anytime the account is a prospect, we want to force the user to have to choose new customer on all opportunities for that account. Unlike if the account is an existing customer, so the account type is, partner or customer, a different option than prospect, then we would allow and we would want to force the user to choose one of these existing customer options, the types on the opportunity, and not allow them to choose new customer. Okay, so this is what we can do for any object, any record in your org where there's a lookup to another object. So the key is that for example, on the opportunity, we have a lookup to the account. We also have a lookup field here to the band. So we can validate data being entered on any record, any opportunity record, and validate that data against the related records in these two fields. We can do that across the organization. That's the power of validation rules. So if I try to do this here, I get an error. This is what we're trying to create. So we want to tell the user, hey, you're trying to choose new customer on the opportunity type, but if you go into the account, this account is an existing customer. So we need you to choose one of the existing customer types so that our data is clean. Okay, so if I go over here to the account, as you can see, the type here is customer channel. So the only time we would allow them to choose new customer is if the account, so we're going to change the account to prospect. And then if I go back to the opportunity and try to choose new customer this time, it's going to let me. Okay, that's what we're going to create together right now. Okay, so we first go into the opportunity validation rules section and click new. And we are going to say that the prospect that we can choose new customer on a prospect account only. That's our only option for users. So users can only select new customer when account is prospect. Okay, so to start off, we're going to use, when we break this down, and this, this takes some practice to get used to find that kind of lowest common denominator in a way. We want to say, if we remember back from the opportunity, there is one option that we want to have the user choose when the account is prospect. So we could, of course, type in, if the account is not is an existing customer, then choose existing customer dash upgrade, or it must be, and we could write out all of these examples. But that's the long way around, because we know that we just want them to choose new customer if the account type is prospect. So we got to break that down in our head, and to do that, we can also reverse it using the not. So instead of just thinking lateral is this, it must be this, this, or this, instead of having to list all three of those out, we're going to use the not function. So over here on the left, if you type in not, you'll see that you come up with this option to say not and then logical. So think of it as a regular logical criteria, and then we add the not in front of it, and it reverses it around. So for example, let's do this. Not is ISPICKVAL, and then we want to say on the account, so we're in the opportunity, and then we're looking up through the account, and we want to grab that account type, and then prospect, and close it off twice there. So normally you would say, you might think your first try might say, is ISPICKVAL on the account customer? What were some of the other ones we have here? Customer dash direct, customer dash channel, channel partner, installation partner, technology partner. You have all of these examples, all of these selections that it could be, but the only one that we're looking for is prospect. So we could say, and then what if tomorrow we decide to add another customer type? I would have to remember to go back into this validation rule and update it with also if the type is equal to, and then put in the new type. I'd have to keep remembering that. But the not lets us avoid having to come back in here in the future if we add another customer type. So we just say, if the account type is not prospect, meaning it's a customer, and on the opportunity, we're going to look at that opportunity type, is new customer. So if the account type is not prospect and you're putting in the opportunity field of on the type field of new customer, throw this error, because we know that that's the one combination, that's the combination we do not want. We have to have, the only time they can choose new customer is if the account type is not a prospect. So you didn't have to sit here and type out all of those customer values and all of those values on the opportunity. That would have taken us, let's see here, we would have had to type out all 5 of these customer types, and we'd have to type out these 3 existing customer types on the opportunity. If we didn't use the not, we'd have to say if the account type is equal to, list out all an or statement of all 5 of those values, and the type on the opportunity is one of these 3, and you'd use an or statement for that. That would have taken us quite a while. But instead we use the not, and then we don't have to even remember to come back here when we add other values to our customer list. So let's see. What do we want our error to be? We're going to say prospect only prospect accounts can have the new customer opportunity type. Please choose an existing customer option now. All right, and we're going to throw that on the field level so that it pops up right underneath there, where we're directing them to change the value to an existing customer option. And we're going to save that up. So now if we go back here to this account, to this opportunity, and let's try to, I think I need to change the account back really quick, back to customer. All right, so we have this account that is an existing customer. And let's say as a user, I'm trying to enter an opportunity for this account with a new customer as the type. I save it up. I get an error. I can only choose this. I must choose an existing customer option. Great. So it's very clear what I need to do and why I can't do what I'm trying to do. And that's always the best case for any validation role, is to really help educate your users so that they understand why they're getting an error instead of just being frustrated that they're constantly getting these errors. And then that helps them for the next time to go, oh yeah, that's right. My prospect accounts need to be a new customer. My existing customer only here. So let's save it up and voila. If you have any questions, if you have any problems implementing this, please reach out to me either on Twitter at MVDSFDC, and I'm also around at the Admin to Admin Academy on the Success community at success.salesforce.com. Looking forward to hearing from you guys. Thanks a lot.